When we went through the history of textiles and fashion, you probably, or well, hopefully, noticed something really special. The incredible thing about fashion is that the story of civilizations can be told from the garments that were worn. Now, it is your time to think about the story of your designs and how it is reflecting the time that we are living in right now and your culture. To create a collection might seem like a daunting task, but once you know the process, it is one of the most fun and creative roles of a fashion designer. Are you ready to write your design story? Hello guys, you probably know what time it is. Drumroll, please. It is time for your lesson quote. Know your target audience. Always keep them at the forefront of your mind. Understand their lifestyle and what they are looking for. Gather their feedback and use it to tailor your approach. The voice of the consumer is an essential input into the development of any fashion business or blog. Guys, our lesson objectives for today is to identify the importance of a collection, recognize the design process, explore themes or concepts, create inspiration boards, and develop a fashion collection. Welcome to lesson 4, titled Creating a Collection. This is a fun lesson because most of you probably want to become designers, right? So let's start at the very beginning by looking at what a fashion collection is, just so that we are all on the same page. The fashion terms line and collection is often used interchangeably, but that is not correct. While they are both very common terms used in the fashion industry, they have very different meanings. A line refers to all of the clothing that a fashion designer or a brand produces for a specific category in that brand. So, if you have a brand with male and female clothing, you will have a line for the men's category and a line for a female category. Now, you get collections within a line. Do you get that? A collection refers to the seasonal production of different designs and styles within a line for the same brand. So, that women's line or female line that we were talking about just a minute ago can have multiple collections a year. Today, our focus will be on creating a collection, so let's dig a little bit deeper. A fashion collection is a range of designs, styles, or garments that are designed and manufactured, usually inspired by a concept, theme, or a trend. I mentioned that collections are seasonal. You already know that there are about 52 micro-seasons a year, but generally most fashion designers stick to spring, summer, autumn, or winter collections. A collection is usually constructed from a variety of silhouettes and garment types, different fabrics and colors reflecting the design style and aesthetic of the designer or brand, as well as reflecting predictions of upcoming trends, and that includes silhouette, fabric, and color trends. It is the silhouettes, the coordinating colors, textures, and the design elements of the different styles that usually tie the whole collection together. There are many reasons why designers create collections. Firstly, it is the best way for you to showcase your design style, a way to show off your aesthetic, your inspiration, and point of view, a way for you to tell your story. It is a great way to get the buyer's attention. If you create a new collection every year, buyers will keep coming back to see what you have. And it is also a way to be more of a relevant designer. And when I say relevant, I don't only mean the incorporation of the latest trends in your new collection, but also further developing styles that already do well in your brand and taking away styles that don't suit your target market's taste. It is important for designers to be flexible, willing to adapt to change without losing what makes them unique, without losing their signature style. And this adaptation to the latest trends in fashion, business trends, and consumer trends can be experimented with when creating a collection. Now we know what a collection is and its purpose or relevance to the designer, so you are probably asking, what now? How do I create a collection? Most designers go through a similar process or similar steps when developing a collection. This is true if you are employed by a company or if you are an independent designer. So, if you own your own brand, let's quickly look at the steps. Research, design development, editing, and presentation. I know you are all eager to learn how to create your own collection. Just a little warning, it is quite a lot to take in, so buckle up because this is going to be quite a ride. Creating a collection is something very personal, thoughtful, and organized. The quality and the consistency of quality and the presentation of collections set great successful brands apart from the rest. Your collection is what brands and businesses are judged on, so it is not just all fun and games, but forms a key part in a designer's success. Before you can start the research process, it is important to figure out who you are as a designer. And when I say figure out who you are, I am referring to your design or signature style and your collection type. Your signature style is what sets you apart from the other designers and make your clothing instantly recognizable and strengthens the value of your brand. Your signature style can be based on one or more of the following: the use of a certain color or shape or a certain pattern. Burberry is a good example with their check print and Versace with their chain print, as you can see on the screen. It can be the use of interesting techniques and surface design manipulations. It can be the silhouettes that you use, Chanel being a great example, or the type of textiles that you use. It is how you use these signature elements to tell a story that creates your signature design style and aesthetic. It is really important for all designers to explore, find, develop, and really own their signature design style to allow you to stand out from the crowd. Some of you might already have a design or signature style, but most of you are probably still figuring it out, right? The thing is, your style will evolve over time, so don't worry too much about that. But a great way to find out what you like and what you don't like is by analyzing different designs, like we have done in both Delve into Design lessons when we looked at the different elements and principles of design. That is how I figured out what I liked. I gravitate towards designs with lots of movement, more symmetric designs, big sleeves, neutral and natural color schemes, and textiles. By analyzing designs and comparing notes, finding the common denominators, I figured out what my signature style is. So if you are feeling a little stuck, I recommend you analyze loads of different designs and write down what you like about them and what you don't. Which of the elements and principles do you want to incorporate into your designs? Which elements and principles really speak to you? So that is one thing you kind of need to figure out before you start a collection, just to keep you on track. The other thing is determining the type of collection or the type of designer you want to be. It is important to consider what type of designer you are or want to be and what type of brand you want to own one day. It is better to be a more focused designer when you start and expanding as you grow. So, you need to start by asking yourself, am I a haute couture type of designer? Do I want to create special, one-of-a-kind, super labor-intensive, expensive, intricate and exclusive designs for clients? Or do I want to be a ready-to-wear designer? This, if you remember, is kind of the cross between haute couture and mass market. I would say most designers find themselves in this category. Even though the category is labeled as ready-to-wear, lines within this category can range from evening wear to sportswear, so it is really wide. And then you get mass market, which is when you design for the general public. Obviously, you can do all of the above, but I strongly suggest you focus on one of these first. Right, now you kind of know your signature style, you know in which category to design, and now you are ready to start creating your collection. I always find it super exciting to see new collections because there is always something amazing and innovative. Unfortunately, inspiration does not just pop up at the snap of a finger, and when it does, it is a rare and magical occasion. People always think that fashion designers are some of the most creative people, but that is not always the case. It takes a lot of research to find the inspiration for your next collection, and this research involves developing a concept or theme, identifying your ideal target market, and becoming aware of the latest trends in the fashion industry. Let's start by looking at how you can develop a theme for your collection. There are many different ways to come up with a theme or a concept, but I suggest you try this following exercise developed by Lekha to really help you come up with an amazing and unique concept within minutes. Minutes, you guys. So this exercise has 6 easy steps to follow. Let's look at step 1. Come up with any word. Obviously, it should be a word that speaks to you, but it can be any word. This should not take too long, so don't overcomplicate it by looking for the perfect word. If you can't think of a word, just write down anything you see in front of you. I thought it would be a good idea to give you an example, so I am going to do this exercise with you. My first word is space. Step 2. In this step, choose 3 different words that remind you of your main word. So really think about the shape, the color, and the texture when writing down these new words. So my 3 words are futuristic, mysterious, and galaxy because they all make me think of space. Are you all with me? Before we move on, there is a template available in your toolkit for you to experiment on and to help you develop these amazing themes. If you have not purchased the toolkit, no worries, just create your own and follow the same steps. Right, step 3. In step 3, you are only going to work with the 3 words you have come up with in step 2. Write down 3 words that remind you of each of these words. So, come up with 3 words for all the 3 of your secondary words. For futuristic, I chose the words silver, neutral, and technology. For the word mysterious, I thought about the word dark and layers and curious. And for the word galaxy, I came up with the words color, light, and movement. Next is step 4. Now you have 12 words. Out of those 12 words, choose your 8 favorite words. I chose the words futuristic, neutral, mysterious, dark, layers, galaxy, light, and movement. Your job now is to find synonyms, so words that have the same meaning, for each of these words. You can simply ask Google to help you with this one. Out of all the synonyms, choose the one you like the most. So these are mine: modern, nonchalant, enigma, obscure, depth, Milky Way, ray, and flow. Step 5. Now you need to play around a little bit by combining 2 words to create different themes. Try to come up with as many themes as possible. So, my top 5 themes were futuristic enigma, neutral ray, dark flow, modern galaxy, and obscure light. And then our last step is step 6, where you pick your favorite theme and forget about the ones that don't make any sense. If none of them make sense, feel free to redo this exercise as many times as you like or want until you have found a new theme that excites you. Also try doing this exercise with a few different words. You are probably wondering which one I chose. To be honest, I couldn't decide, so I asked some of the other Shaw Academy educators and we all liked neutral ray the most. That is another idea. Ask the people around you which theme they like the most. I think this could be quite a cool theme. The word neutral could refer to the color palette and perhaps a unisex collection. And ray reminds me of the radiation principle, so maybe I can bring that into designs and also maybe create a print for the designs. It is always a good idea to create keywords for your theme to help boost the creativity and keep you on track. I hope you guys are excited to develop some of your own themes, but it does not stop there. Once you have decided on your theme, you also need to consider the season, as this will influence the type of designs within the collection and also has the potential to influence your color scheme. Will it be an autumn, winter, spring, or summer collection? Once you have outlined your concept and you are happy with it, you need to spend some time looking at the market that you are selling the collection to. It would be amazing if what you designed appealed to everybody, but that is simply not possible. That means you need to take time to think about who you want your clothes to speak to. Market research is always part of the research phase or the first step of each collection. Understanding your target market is imperative for creating a collection that sells. For those who don't know, the term target market refers to a group of people at which your product is aimed. When defining your ideal target market, consider the following customer attributes. The demographic, which refers to their age, gender, profession, and income. Geographic, which, as you can probably guess, refers to their geographic location and their travels. Psychographics, which refers to their lifestyle, their values, and their beliefs. And then you also need to consider their buying habits. So, are they brand loyal? Are they price conscious? Are they shopping in-store or online? What are their purchasing habits? Many people think that it is better to attract as many different customers as possible, but that is not true. You need to be as specific as possible and really narrow your overall demographic, as this will allow you to design what they want to buy and it will be easier for you to attract the right customer. A few things to consider include their income level. If you are creating an exclusive range produced from the most expensive fabric, your target market can't be people around the age of 20 because they won't be able to afford your product. Do you get that? Which takes me to the next point, which is age. Age plays a big role in what your target market will wear and also their spending and purchasing habits. For example, younger generations are more open to shopping online, so if you have a brand catering for the younger generations, it is important to have a digital footprint. Older generations prefer shopping in store, so if you are catering for this market, it would be in your best interest to have a physical store where the client can purchase your product. Gender is another important thing to consider, and you also need to ask yourself, what are the target market's passion, their hobbies, their lifestyle? What is important to them? Perhaps the latest trends? What motivates them? Is it their family, their career, or sustainability? And why would they shop for your product? Why and how would your product help them. You really need to take a minute to sit down and think about your ideal buyer persona. Are you designing for young adults, children, mothers, fitness enthusiasts, or mature women? You don't want too narrow of a demographic, but if it is too wide or too open-ended, you risk no one connecting with your collection and brand, so it really is all about finding the balance and finding your niche. Some people call their buyer persona a muse and create a fictional character they keep in mind during the whole designing process. If you'd like to do this, I have created a buyer persona template for you to fill in. You can find this in your toolkit. But I am going to talk you through the template now. So this is what the template looks like. You can either use this one or create your own, but let's quickly work through it. So first, you will fill in the demographics. So let's pretend this person lives in New York. She is 19 years old, a female, and she does not have a stable income because she is a student. Her buying motivations are comfort, function, and low prices. Her concerns include fit and high prices. So, now you can already see that she cares about the fit of the clothing, how comfortable they are, and whether or not they are functional. We also know that she does not want to spend a lot of money. Her hobbies include walking, running, and going on outdoor adventures with her friends. Again, we can assume that she is more of a sporty type, so sportswear will probably suit her best because it is comfy, it is functional, and perfectly suited for her hobbies. And then you can also find a photo of someone and add it in to help you visualize your muse. This can be anyone, someone you know, or someone totally random. And that is it. This template will help you stay on track and remember who you are designing for. Once you have an idea of the concept or theme of your collection and your ideal target market, you can proceed to the fabrics and color scheme creation that we are going to go through now. For fashion designers, deciding the fabrics and the colors for your collection is of the utmost importance as it can really make or break the collection. So no pressure. So how do you select your color scheme and fabrication? Inspiration. Both your fabric and your color scheme should be driven by your theme or concept. Also take into consideration the season. So, if you have a summer collection, it won't make sense to go for heavyweight, warm fabrics, right? So it is important that the colors and fabrics correlate with your theme. I've said it before and I will say it again. Color is the first thing people notice and it sets the mood for your collection, so it is important to spend some time thinking about it. Do you remember our color wheel or the color wheel you created? Now is the perfect time to refer to it. Also, you can go to the following website to help you out, color.adobe.com, where you can play around with different color schemes. Source fabrics. Whether you are the king or queen of textiles or you are a first-time designer, it is always beneficial to go to your closest fabric store and check out what is available. Sometimes you will find something like a cool color or amazing print that you have not seen before, and it may also introduce you to new fabrics. When sourcing fabrics, always ask for samples or swatches. These swatches are great to staple to your sketches when you want to visualize and envision the collection and can be quite inspiring. Again, keep your target market in mind. If they are, let's say, more environmentally conscious, think about designing with more eco-friendly fabrics. And then trends. While some designers don't pay attention to the latest trends, and you don't need to either, it might be a good idea to rely on trends to set the tone for your collection. This will also make you a more relevant designer, so I suggest you research the latest color and textile trends and try to incorporate it into your designs. As you know by now, Pantone functions as a color and trend forecasting site, so please go check that out. I keep saying to be relevant, you need to stay up to date with the latest trends and incorporate these where you can. Who can tell me why? People, consumers, you and me, we want the latest fashions. We see it on the runways or on celebrities or in the most fashion-forward shops and magazines, and we want it. We want to be in it. That is just how consumerism works, right? So, as a designer, if you know what people want, let's say they want a pink dress with big sleeves, why are you not creating it? If you want people to buy what you are selling, you need to sell what people want to buy. That is a great sentence, even if I have to say so myself. So that's why I'm going to repeat it. If you want people to buy what you are selling, you need to sell what people want to buy. And people want to buy what is considered trendy. Important note though, a great collection strikes the balance between what is on trend, what is totally new, and your design style. So that means taking a trend, what you think is going to be in fashion next year or the year after that, and your personal design style, and mixing it together to create an amazing design. There are different ways of staying up to date, like researching trends, traveling, reading the latest fashion magazines, and watching the latest fashion shows and documentaries. Some amazing trend forecasting resources include WGSN, TrendStop, Trend Tablet, Fashion Snoops, and Pantone. Please feel free to visit any or all of these sites for the latest silhouette, color, print, and textile trends. Remember, as a fashion designer, it is your responsibility to stay up to date with the latest trends. I know it sounds a little bit overwhelming to create a collection, but this journey begins with one step, and the first step to a fantastic collection is a cohesive vision. A great way to piece together your thoughts is to create a mood board, which includes your preferred color palette, textures, and a variety of elements that reflect your theme or concept. Remember our lesson, Inspiration Celebration? If you want to refresh your memory on how to create a good mood board, feel free to rewatch Lesson 2 of Module 1 or go over your summary notes and webinar slides of that lesson. Once you have figured out your concept or theme, your target market, and your color and textile direction, you can start sourcing images that relate to that theme. Some mood board tips: don't be too picky. Gather many images and then reduce it down to the strongest elements. Also, source a lot of different elements. Don't just look for images of clothing. Format. Remember, a mood board can either be a physical one or a digital one. Quantity and variety. Don't be afraid to add a lot of different elements on the board, like your color scheme should definitely be on it, textile inspiration, maybe some text or keywords that tie the collection together. That being said, your board should be focused and organized with a clear purpose. I'd say using a maximum of 10 images will help to create an effective and focused board. Experiment with the layout and composition of your board to also reflect your theme. Should I go for a more organic layout or more geometric? That is a good question to ask yourself. And don't forget to play with scale. The more important the image or element, show it by making the image bigger than the others. This will serve as a reference point for the other images, create focus, and guide you to the elements you consider to be more important. Let's pretend you have successfully completed the research part. Now you should have enough to start having some ideas of what your collection will look like. By this point, you should grab a pencil and sketchbook and start playing around with concepts. At first, go wild and see what you come up with. At this point, more is more when it comes to sketching. Don't focus too much on the details or whether or not the designs will go together or making up outfits. Your aim now is to design as much as you can using your mood board and the elements and principles in your board to guide you. If you are having trouble with getting started, try and give yourself a 5 to 10 minute window to sketch in. Although it might sound a little counterintuitive, barriers or creative constraints can be very helpful for being creative. Remember to balance function with design. It does not matter if it is the most amazing and creative design in the world. If it is not wearable, it is not fashion. Later in the sketching process, you can start piggybacking and combining ideas and start piecing together a collection by connecting concepts. Forcing creativity does not work. Neuroscience suggests that a lot of breakthroughs happen when people are relaxed and when their brains are disengaged. After doing the research, you will notice a lot of ideas popping up randomly when you are driving, eating, showering, or in my case, dreaming. Practice creativity by sketching a lot and just being patient. Once you have created quite a few designs, and when I say quite a few, I mean like 50 sketches, you need to take them and develop them a little bit more. So, now is the time to think about the details, think about how the different pieces are going to work together, and think about each piece's color and fabrication. This is also the time where you will throw out most of your sketches and develop a few really strong designs in order to create a cohesive collection. But what does it mean to develop a cohesive collection? Cohesive means that something is well integrated and unified. Some synonyms for the word include words like coherent, compatible, and coordinated. So, you can see these are all words that can kind of be defined as things that work together effortlessly. For a collection to be cohesive, it is key for all the different types of clothing and products to work well together as a union. It must be coherent, have logic, and it is also important for it to be easily understood. To create cohesion, you need to be critical and analyze your designs. You need to be able to identify the elements and principles you have used and incorporate those elements and principles throughout your collection. Let's look at an example. So this is my example. Let's quickly look at the silhouette. You can see that this designer went for a more of a loose-fitting silhouette, especially the rectangle and tent silhouette. We can also see the V-neck repeating, keeping it consistent. We can also see some angular geometric style lines and details, which is really nice because it creates some kind of contrast to the soft and almost organic silhouette. We can't see any color in this example, unfortunately, but you would ideally like the colors to run through the whole collection. We also don't know the fabric, but I can kind of guess that it is going to be more of a lightweight fabric because of all the folds and the way that it hangs. It almost clings to the body, especially that first and fourth look, and that creates a lot of movement, which is key characteristics of lightweight fabrics. And then the elements and principles, which we have already kind of discussed. You can see that the designer likes playing around with different lines, asymmetry. The second design is a good example of the golden ratio being used, and there is unity in the collection. All of these looks look like they belong together. Do you agree? The next step is to critically look at your collection and edit to refine the overall look. Further changes may be required for a variety of reasons. Maybe the whole collection does not match the original theme or concept, or maybe the color scheme is not balanced, or even an imbalance of silhouettes and textiles or textures. Maybe there are challenges or delays with the fabrication. This is the time to try and overcome the challenges and go back to the sketchbook and edit what you already have to make it more cohesive. It is important to remember that this design process is really a process, which means that you might have to go back and develop the designs a bit more, or maybe create new designs or tweak the theme slightly, and this may happen a few times during the design process. Once you are happy with your collection, you need to present it in a professional way. This we usually call a range plan. We will talk about a range plan a little bit later in the course, but essentially a range plan is an overview of your collection with all of the design and business parameters set out. This range plan is used before you dive into large-scale production, and it gives potential clients a clear understanding of your vision. But for now, you will start by creating parts of the range plan. What you are going to do now is create a final lineup of all of your looks. This lineup will be accompanied by your buyer persona and your mood board. Please feel free to use the buyer persona template in your bonus content or just create your own. In the next lesson, we will learn how to create digital technical drawings because you usually add your technical sheets to it too, but we will create these in the next 2 lessons. So, what is a final lineup? Basically, a final lineup is your collection presented on fashion figures, rendered in the desired color scheme and fabrication. This will give you and others viewing your collection a good idea of your vision, helping them visualize it. This way you can also see and analyze how the different parts of the collection look together and whether or not it is cohesive. Once you have gone through all of the steps and you are happy with what you have created on paper and you are happy with your collection and range plan, which we are still working on, you can start the production phase, which includes pattern making, the production of samples and prototypes, and the manufacturing of your fashion collection. Now it is time to present and sell your collection to the public. How do you do this? Well, many designers, as you know, showcase their collections at fashion shows, but if you are an up-and-coming designer, that is not always financially possible, is it? So, you can either create a little exhibition somewhere, or you can market and sell your collection online through one of your favorite social media platforms. Again, the how and where you present your collection is dependent on your target market. You need to take your collection to them. And we have come to the part of the lesson where I am going to get you excited about what is coming next. Although sketching by hand is super important, in today's fashion world, computer-aided design and creative computing has become a big part of the design process. Using CAD, a fashion designer can create amazing sketches more quickly and more precisely, especially when it comes to colors and prints. It is important to remember that even though computer-aided design and creative computing plays a big role in the fashion industry now, there is a lot of beauty and intricacy in drawing sketches by hand, and it is important to know how to draw by hand because this will definitely help you draw these sketches on the computer. But before we become amazing digital designers, we first need to go back to the basics and really get to know the program, the different tools, and why they are there. And that is exactly what we are going to do in our next lesson. Right, we have gone through what a collection is and the steps you should follow to create your own collection. Now, we don't want to create just any old collection, do we? We want to create the best collection possible. Let's quickly look at how to design a strong collection. These are some great and informative tips that I suggest you think about during the design phase. In the first lesson of this course, I said that fashion is art. And it really is, but designing a strong collection and a cohesive collection is more than just a creative and artistic process. It requires a lot of skills to design, define your niche, create a successful collection, pricing and selling the collection, all while dealing with a limited amount of resources. It is important to remember that, yes, Fashion allows you to be creative, but you also want your brand to grow and generate an income. And that is why you need to dust off that business hat every now and then. Lucky for you, I will be sharing a few tips with you to keep in mind when you are planning your fashion collection. These tips will be split into 3 sections. Creative tips, and these you will have to consider when designing. The more businessy tips, and the key elements you should think about incorporating if you want to create a collection that will sell. So, the last one is part creative and part business. Are you ready? Let's start with some creative tips. A good collection is not only about telling a story with your designs, but also telling the world about who you are as a designer. That is why having a signature style is so very important. Diversity in collection. When designing bigger collections, and I'm talking about a 10+ look collection, it can be quite overwhelming to think that you have to design a huge range of completely different garments, but believe me, this is not always the case. Changing minor details on a design, or even just producing it out of a different type or weight of fabric and color, can totally change the look and feel of the garment. It will also bring some cohesion to the collection and cuts down on your workload. So, when designing a massive collection, keep this in mind. Have a few key styles and create a few options within that style. Next up, color. A collection won't work well if the colors within the collection are not complementary. The collection must be tied together by colors in some way. It is important to choose a color scheme where the colors work well together but also help advance your overall vision. And then balance design and function. When designing, it is important to keep in mind how this design will be worn and how the sketch of the design will translate to real life. You need to hit the sweet spot between design and function to create wearable art. First, it is important for you to every now and then put your business hat on and look at your collection from that point of view. It is important to run the process through your head and not only get stuck at the designing of the clothing. You need to think a bit further than creating the sample, but instead think about how to produce hundreds of units. Remember, it is easy to improvise when you are creating a sample, but when you need to produce more than just one, it becomes a little bit more challenging. You need to consider this while you are designing. The next thing to consider while designing is the cost of designing. You need to design with a cost sheet if you want your brand or business to be successful. This means integrating the business side of things with the fun, creative design side. You need to consider the cost of everything, the fabric, the thread, the pattern, everything, to ensure that you stay within your target market's price point. Otherwise, all the researching and designing would have been for nothing, and we don't want that, do we? Also, don't be afraid to share textiles. What do I mean by this? Well, if you can create a variety of different styles out of one type of fabric, it will make the production of the design a bit easier and also cheaper. Usually, if you buy larger quantities of fabric, it will be cheaper than just buying 10 meters of this and 10 meters of that. It will also help to reduce waste. One garment's waste can be another garment's pocket, if you know what I mean. This is also a great way to make your collection more cohesive. As we know by now, a collection is not just about all the things that you like. To create a successful collection that sells, regardless of the tips mentioned in the previous slide, you should think about developing the following key elements. A statement piece. These statement pieces should be eye-catching and bold and wonderful, something that really grabs the attention of potential buyers, so in other words, the wow factor of your collection. This statement piece can either be a one-off piece that never makes it to production, or you can produce a small run, which means there are only a few produced, making it that exclusive piece in your collection. Because of its exclusivity, this piece can be the most expensive piece in your collection. You don't have to have many, but 1 or 2 statement pieces are a great way to get the people talking and get customers through the door. Next is the gateway piece, which will become your best seller. This kind of piece should showcase your signature style and kind of hold the collection together, tying the different looks together. When designing, think about what this gateway piece will be based on your target market. This bestseller piece will be the bulk of what you are producing and selling, and it usually falls right in the middle of your collection's price range. So really, this is the piece or the pieces in your collection that will be what your customer will want to spend money on and will also spend some time looking at and hopefully buy. And then you get your add-on piece, sometimes referred to as the upsell pieces in your collection. These are the pieces that are the more affordable pieces, usually entry price point products. This means that they are impulse purchases or add-ons to your other items you have already selected from the collection. These pieces allow a new customer to buy into your brand. Let's quickly look at an example. Which of these Versace products do you think is the statement piece, the gateway piece, and the add-on piece? Let's see if you were correct. So the bomber jacket is the statement, the skirt is the gateway, because I think a lot of people will want that skirt. It is more wearable and probably more affordable than the statement piece. And then the add-on is the scarf. That is someone who wants to buy into the Versace brand but can't necessarily afford the gateway or statement piece. So now you know quite a bit more about collections compared to when you started this lesson. You know the process, what makes a good and cohesive collection, and key elements to include to help create a more successful collection. Marc Jacobs once said, "I always find beauty in things that are odd and imperfect. They are much more interesting." It is important to find your way and do things the way you like. The information I give you guys, or the processes, are all just guidelines. It is when you swim against the stream, when you stop worrying about being perfect, stop worrying about how well you can draw, or stop worrying about being creative. That is when the magic happens. To be a good designer is to be 100% yourself and backing yourself. Coco Chanel said, "In order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different." We often try so hard to be perfect and to fit in, but I want you to celebrate what makes you, you. Celebrate the odd and the imperfect. I assure you that will help you develop your signature style. That will make you stand out and make you irreplaceable. Who can guess what the lesson challenge is? I want you to design a collection of 3 outfits. Even though you only have 3 outfits, you need at least 5 different items in your collection. I really want you to explore, develop, and own your design style. I want you to feel inspired and excited and just design, and design a lot. Piggyback designs to create new and better ones. Make it the best collection ever, one you are proud of. Dream about it and dream big. This challenge is a big one and requires you to do quite a few things, like creating a mood board, creating a lot of rough sketches, and transferring those sketches onto a figure. That means I want you to present your collection in a final lineup format. I would also love to see the process work, so please feel free to share this on your favorite social media channel and the Shaw Academy Facebook group. Remember to tag Shaw Academy and use the hashtag Shaw Fashion Collection. Please don't forget to do your weekly lesson assignment. This will really help you to understand the content a little bit better. And that is it for Lesson 4 Designers, halfway through Module 3, can you believe it? The fact that you are here and you got this far shows how dedicated you are and how eager you are to learn and grow. And it is this eagerness and passion that will make you stand out from the rest and make you a fantastic designer. See you guys for Lesson 5, Figuring It Out Digitally. think back about our lesson quote. Honestly, did you know that the creation of a fashion collection revolved so much around your ideal customer? When I started designing, I did not even think about my customer. I just designed what I wanted to, especially because I thought designing for someone specific won't allow me to be as creative than just going wild. But it can actually push you to be even more creative. Let's be honest, we all want to be successful, amazing, perhaps well-known designers, and for this to become your reality, you have to think a little bit more than just designing the clothes, but also what you are going to do with the clothing. So this is my question to you. Who is your target market? Who is your ideal customer? What do they look like? Where do they live? How old are they? What are their values? What do they do for fun? What are they wearing? What do they want to buy? How much are they willing to spend? And why would they support you? And with that, I will love and leave you. Stay fashionable, designers.